And they are all kept together for the entire duration of their pregnancy, for the 9 months. And there was a picture of them on beds in kaftans and just waiting to pop this baby out. And I thought, oh, okay, so that's my castle of 24 maidens, because these women are basically trapped, and they're also, in a way, hostage to other people, because they're, I guess they're prisoners in a way, and they're waiting to present this great gift of birth to some family in Midwest America or something like that, who can't do it themselves, and obviously because it's very cheap. So that sort of idea of the greenhouse, of these hens sitting there and laying their eggs, became the pivot of my story. And I'm just going to read a very small bit about sort of towards the beginning of the book about this greenhouse. We keep 24 women in the greenhouse at a time. Each gets a bed, a side table, linen and socks for the duration of their stay. The beds are lined up 12 on each side, and a mirror hangs on the south wall, just big enough for them to see their faces. Most women bring pictures of their family to stick above their beds. Some bring small statues of gods, crosses or lucky charms, which they lodge in the windowsill. In the adjacent common room, there's a flat-screen TV which alternates between soap operas and news channels. All the women congregate here day and night, staring dumbly at the box like a row of watermelons, instead of working on Sudoku or embroidery, activities we recommend. The only mandatory daily activities are the morning meditation session, which Begum, the lady of the fountain, leads, and the evening drink at the fountain. We suggest half an hour of gentle daily exercise, just a stroll in the garden or a slow meander around the lily pond, but it's impossible to enforce this. We also offer computer lessons, but very few actually make use of them. They are bored, of course, and everything is strange to them, the environment, the changes they must undergo, their own bodies. Some of them are so young, often away from their families for the first time, so they mope about, forever texting their husbands about the hardship of it all. Every one of them calculates what they will do with the money before they've got it. This is inevitable, I suppose, but Begum and I try to foster a sense of sisterhood in the greenhouse, the idea that they're working towards a greater good, and that money should not be their only motivation. Our first proxy was a woman called Asmara, wife of the farmer Binoy Lewis. She was built like a house, with large flat hands and legs overrun by varicose veins. Surely she's too old, Begum whispered when Asmara walked in the front door. I hear you pay 5,000, Asmara said. I'll take half of that. Asmara was our beginning, a fearless, fat housewife who had clearly reached the ditch water of her troubles. She didn't complain once about having to spread her legs, about the injections or blood tests or probes. She just closed her eyes and relented like a patient cow. Because she was our first, and for a while our only proxy, she told us everything. That her husband Binoy had worked his fields from 4 in the morning to 6 in the evening every day for 15 years and still didn't have a good shirt to show for church. That she was in love with a movie star. And when her husband made love to her, which was rare these days, she asked him to flip her over like an omelette so she could better imagine the movie star. That she sometimes hated her children. God help her, but they were an ungrateful bunch of wretches. Only the middle one, her second son, gave her hope. He studied all night with the help of a torchlight and dissected frogs in school. Soon they would have to buy him a thick pair of spectacles, and other boys would bully him. But what an intelligent fellow he was going to be. How tiring it is to be poor, Asmara once told me. And in the very next breath, so when are you going to have children, Luna? Or at least find a man? I could only laugh. Do I look like a sheep to you, I said. When I open my mouth, do you hear me say ba? Why do you think, especially when you tell me stories like this, that I'm dying to go out and do what every foolish woman in this town has done? Asmara understood. She said I was right, of course, to take my freedom seriously. But don't become a bitter old woman, Luna. Make room for love. Otherwise life can be so long.